What's up guys, Scott Protagonist here, and today I'll be doing a deck profile on one of the Singapore team's champions, Team Ninja Master M Mohammad Firdaus deck. So basically he is the user of the Shadow Paladin deck, aka the deck name will be called #swag2. So if you want to learn more about the deck list, check out the description down below. I've left the description to the Busho website which shows the full deck list. So here I'm just gonna explain why he used certain cards and how he played them. So this deck is a very different deck from a complete Diablo deck, because this instead of running Vortimer, we are running Deathspray Dragon. This tech is originate from Japan, and he actually picked it up and he actually performed really well before the team league. So we actually decided to go ahead with this deck, and it actually worked quite well for him. So yeah, even though I do not have my teammate with him, I had this deck right here. If you guys know the Domo sleeves from since very long ago, he's been my teammate since the beginning of Vanguard, and if you know the Domo sleeves, you probably know him. So yeah, so let us go on the deck profile. 4 copies of Blaster Duck Diablo. So Blaster Duck, if you're wondering how the secret Shroud deck looks like, it has the text here. The duck is the necessary path. See if you can see it. Yep. So the reason why he used this is because whenever you perform strike, whenever you strike Phantom Blaster Diablo, so if you strike this guy, you are able to retire 1 unit your opponent control. So that this is really good, because whenever you strike, you're basically getting a +1 because you're minusing your opponent for 1 card. And another skill is, while paying for the cost of a strike, GB2, and if for a blaster card, you can discard any card against plus 3 grades. So you could even discard a draw trigger if necessary. So it's good because you don't have to like, oh no, I might not draw strike enabler in this deck, because you can basically dump any card to perform strike for a blaster unit, which is mainly Phantom Blaster Diablo or Phantom Spectral Diablo. Sorry, Spectral Blaster Diablo. Until today, I have a problem with that name. So the main winning image of this deck is basically, if your opponent were to call if your opponent were to have empty circles, it is really easy to retire with Blaster Duck over this, and then use that spray skill to retire another one. When you attack, if your opponent doesn't have enough cards to retire on the field, this attack cannot be guarded unless your opponent uses G Guardians. But what are the odds your opponent's gonna have 2 G Guardians? So this deck is meant to finish your opponent off really quickly, because Phantom Blaster Diablo actually has additional crit so it's really aggressive. So whenever you check a crit, it's pretty much game. Yeah, and most of your opponents probably won't commit to the field so early, so it's easy to pull off this combo with this deck. So yeah. So next, the second great 3 we play is 4 copies of Deathspray Dragon. So it kind of look like PBD if you look closely. So his skill is Counterblast 1, GB1, choose one of your other rearguards and retire it. At the end of this battle that this unit attacks a Vanguard, you may pay the cost. So Counterblast 1, sack one of your own units. You can choose up to one of your opponent's rearguards and retire it. So with this combo, you're able to force your opponent to have not enough rearguards to get this. And this is really good because your opponent definitely won't really expect this guy. This is pretty much like a tech in the deck, which surprises the opponent and kill them by surprise. So it is really good, because the opponent that doesn't commit to the field just basically dies in one go. So yeah, and after we actually had the Phantom, what the hell is it called? Vortimer Diablo, yeah. So it's Vortimer Diablo. We tested it and it's quite it's okay, I guess. But he mostly ride onto Blaster Duck, because yeah, this is true avatar, I guess. So you guys that are trying to build this deck, you could actually try to go for this build. It's actually pretty good, because not being able to guard a crit monster is just too devastating to play. So that's the grade 3 lineup. So I'm gonna put it one side. Alright. So for the grade 2s, we play 4 copies of Howell. What Howell does is GB1. When one of your other grade 1 is placed on the Vanguard circle, and you have a Vanguard with Diablo, choose up to one of your Vanguards and the unit gains 3k power. Choose one, the Vanguard and this unit gains 3k power. So it's very easy to power up your Vanguards, especially with a lot of search power in this deck for grade 1s. And if a card that is placed onto your Vanguard circle is his buddy, you can counter charge 1 and soul charge 1. So that fixes your Combat Blast problem. This deck doesn't have Combat Blast problem. So that's really good, because Shadow Paladins are used to have Combat Blast problems, and yet this kind of fix it. This combo fixes the problem. So next is 4 copies of Dark Saga Painter. When this unit is placed on the Vanguard circle, and if you have a Vanguard Diablo, you can draw a card. You must draw a card and then choose a card from your hand, discard it. So this is actually good because sometimes you may discard dead cards from your hand and draw another card. Draw a card and discard dead card. So it's pretty okay. If your Vanguard is a Diablo, while this card's in the deck, it gains a -1 grade. So it is a grade 1. So you could, if you run out of grade 1 targets or you actually need a boost, the interceptor the next turn or attacker, you could actually just search him out and use as an attacker. So yeah, he's pretty good. Next, we play 3 copies of Matcha. Dark Knight Maiden Matcha. So when this unit is boosted and attacks the Vanguard, it may Count Blast 1. If you do, search a deck for grade 1 and call it to Rearguard circle. So yeah, few tutoring for sacking. So that's pretty good. Right, grade 1s. 4 copies of Kahadin. I'll go Paladin counterpart. So when this unit is placed on the from the drop into the drop zone from your Rearguard circle, so when you use skills like PBD or Spectra, you can choose one of your Vanguard and it gains a 5k power and a skill. When the unit attack hits the opponent's Vanguard, it may search a deck for a grade 1 card and call it to Rearguard circle. And then if you have a Black Chain formation Howell on the field, so you have his friend here, the unit core of the effect gains a 5k power. So yeah, so more calling power and gaining power to your Rearguards. So it's very good because you might deplete your field because you sack with Phantom Spectre Diablo, but you can always regain back with Howell and Kaidin skill. Alright, now more great ones. 4 copy of Pitch Black Sage Sharon. Alright, this deck actually eats quite a bit of sacrifice. So Sharon is really good because it could be a 1 sacrifice for Phantom Spectre Diablo, or a 1 sacrifice, 2 sacrifice cards for the finisher skill. So yeah, very good. And another skill is when this unit is placed on the Rearguard circle, you may review a grade 3 from your hand and search your deck for a Blaster Dark and add it to your hand. So this ensures that you consistently write onto your Blaster Dark. 4 copies of Perfect Guard. Flipper. Yeah. 1 copy of Dark Heart Trumpeter. Basically, we play 1 copy is because this deck might have a little bit of problem with Soul, and using it once is fine. Basically, when this unit is placed on the Rearguard circle and it's GB1, and if you have a Blaster unit in the name, Vanguard, you can search your deck for a grade 1 and superior call it. So yeah, free tutoring. 1 copy of Strike Helper. The Strike Helper is not really needed in this deck, but if it's a first strike, if you happen to draw it, you can always drop it, or you can always just call it with your skills anyway, because it's a grade 1. Yeah, those are grade 1s. Now for the trigger lineup. Trigger lineup, we play a very special lineup because we play 3 of each, then 1 of each. So basically that's 1, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 10 crits, 2 draws, and 4 heals. Alright, the reason why is because this deck, if you're gonna pull off his skill early game, if you check a crit, you're probably just gonna end game. So checking a crit is really important. Yes, this deck might sound a bit sacky, but it actually works really well. So yeah, there are many times where my SSSD, my Sing Saver deck didn't manage to kill my opponent. Fee was the one that carried us through, especially during the last round, which I lost to the Sentry Guard. He actually won, so that's really, really good. And the starter we have here is Promising Knight David. When this card is treated as a 2 sacrifice, so it's pretty simple. So yeah, a very good card because your first strike you could use Aura Gazer, and Aura Gazer is able to like one card trade into for 2 cards. So that's pretty good. Let's go on to the strike zone. Alright, the strikes. The main strike of this deck is 4 copies of Phantom Blaster Diablo Dark Dragon. So what it does is activate, counterblast 1 once per turn. You may flip up a copy of itself face up and counterblast 1. If you do, this unit gets a 10k and 1 crit. So that for 1 counterblast, you're gaining a huge amount of power and 1 crit. And then when this unit attacks, you may retire 2 cards. Sorry, you may retire 3 cards, 3 Rearguards. Then if you do, your opponent may choose 2 of his or her Rearguards and retire them. If he or she does not, your opponent cannot call cards to the Guardian Circle. So that's pretty devastating. The only way they can call cards is by G Guardians. So back then when G Guardian didn't exist, this deck will really wreck your face because of Deathspray, surprise Deathspray, and he has the crit, so it's really amazing. Next is 2 copies of Spectral Diablo. He's also using Spectral Diablo because it is a restander. It's a freaking amazing card. Skill activate once per turn. Soul Blast 1 and choose a face down card in your G zone and turn it face up. So you can turn any card face up in the deck. So if you didn't use a Sabreeze, you could always turn up Sabreeze in order to activate its skill. And then choose one of your regards and retire it. Until end of turn, this unit gains a skill. When this unit... Wait, give me a sec. When this unit attacks the Vanguard, you may pay the cost of Count Blast 2 and select 2 of your regards. Or 1 if you play David and the Great One. The Great One Charon. Give me a sec. Which Charon? So 1 if you are sacking these units. If you do, this unit loses 2 drives and you can restand this unit. So even though it lost 2 drive, it is still a very powerful unit because if you were to sacrifice cards like Paladin, you're going to gain the extra 5k anyway. So opponents definitely got to perfect guard this or guard for at least 30k. So this is why it's still a very powerful unit. So 2 copies is fine because if you run more than 2, you're going to deck out too fast. So 2 is fine. Now for the Aura Gazer lineup, we play 3 Aura Gazer. Alright, there's 1 Japanese here because during the tournament we actually borrowed 1 from our friend. And this Japanese one belonged to me. He plays English, so yeah. Aura Gazer, when this unit attacks the Vanguard, you can pay a cost of Count Blast 1, Soul Blast 1, then sack 1 unit. So sack 2 units, then you can review top 2 cards of the deck. For each grade 1, it gains 5k power, and then add them to your hand. So yeah, very good because it gives you a +1 early game. Aura Gazer Doom. If you're fighting against decks that you need to retire their starter, you need something to retire, you could use Aura Gazer Doom. Count Blast 1 is instead of attacking, this is during your main phase. So activate Count Blast 1 once per turn. Sack 3 units, I believe. Yeah, you have to sack 3 of your units instead. This sack 2, sack 3. Then for each grade 1 or less you review from the 2 cards, you can retire 1 of your opponent's rear guards. So this is how you can get rid of their starters if you need to. And it gains a crit if you have 2 or more. If you have 3 or more cards. Yeah, 3 or more cards in your G zone, it gains 1 crit. So yeah, it's still good for retiring. 1 copy of Sabreeze just in case the opponent plays the Misgrade game. There's still Sentry Blasters over there. 1 copy of Dark Knight Grim Recruiter, just in case you do not have any resources to sack. You can always call it and attack and a +1. When attack hits, you can super call 1 grade 1 to your Rearguard Circle and shuffle your deck. So yeah, it recruits a grade 1. So for G Guardians, you play 1 copy of Dark Knight Ludwig. So when this unit plays on the Guardian Circle, choose 1 of your grade 1's Rearguards and move it to your Guardian Circle. So this basically makes one of your Rearguards a shield as well. So yeah. 1 copy of Screw. When this card is in the Guardian Circle, you can discard 1 card and it gains +10k shield. So just in case you fight against next stages. So 1 card to end the next stage crap is pretty good actually. 1 copy of Dark Element Dismal. Dismal is just in case you fight against cards that want to attack your rearguards or like Dimension Robos. You could protect your stuff from their Laurel and shenanigans. And 1 copy of Light Element A Gleam. The problem about Shadow Paladins right now is they don't really have a good G Guardian. So we actually had to make use of a lot of Cray Elemental G Guardians in order for this deck to work. But it's fine because these are still good cards. When this unit is placed on the Guardian Circle, you may pay the cost of discarding 1 card of your hand and then draw a card. So you can cycle your hand. So discard some cards with low shield value and for higher shield value so they can guard later. Still pretty good. So I hope you guys enjoy my deck, my friend's Mohammad Firdaus deck. Profile of his Shadow Paladin, Deathspray with Diablo. So be sure to add me on Facebook and subscribe to my channel for more deck profiles and booster box opening. Peace out and love you guys. Rawr.